What's up, guys? My name is Mike Chen, also known as The Bits, and in today's tutorial we are going to learn about orbits. So one of the precursors to an orbit is learning how to do a coordinated turn. And a coordinated turn is simply flying around an object using roll and yaw simultaneously. And again, it's called a coordinated turn because you have to coordinate your yaw and your roll at the same time. So what is an orbit? An orbit is when you fly around an object continuously around it and you try to keep it as centered in your video as possible. Okay, so let's take a look at this orbit. I'm basically going around and around the object, the pole here, and trying to keep it as centered as possible, and I'm getting a little wonky there, so I bail out. Alright, let's watch that again in slow motion in halftime. Ooh, went too far. Okay, and we're back. So as you can see, as I start getting into this, my throttle's staying pretty consistent. My roll is just to the left and my yaw is also to the left. And if you look, I'm using yaw and roll in almost equal portions, and all I'm doing is holding a steady throttle and making very minor adjustments. And if we go even slower, you can see I'm a little sideways as we get into it, and when I start the roll, when I start the yaw, it levels out, and then I start to roll to match it. The goal in an orbit is to keep yourself level and let the momentum continuously swing you around the object. Things do change a little bit when you try to do these orbits at a faster rate. So again, pay attention to the sticks and notice how that I'm not really pitching forward or backwards. And actually where I start getting a little wonky is if I go back here, as you can see right here, I start to go a little off kilter because I start to actually pitch forward. If you watch the pitch stick on the right, I start to pitch forward a little bit, which brings me a little bit closer to the object. And then as I come around, the object now starts to get a little off-centered on the frame, and I'm swinging a little bit wider than I was. As we can see here, my right-hand orbits are generally not as good as my lefts. Nevertheless, it's a good opportunity to show you how to make minor corrections to get yourself back into a good orbit. When you find yourself in a good orbit, you basically want to hold the sticks as steady as possible, and you should just keep going around the object pretty well. So if we play that back now, you play that back in slightly slower speed. Let's get to the pole a little faster, and we'll play from here. You can see I'm a little off kilter and I'm a little far away from the pole. And one of the things that you could play with while you're doing an orbit is slightly pitching forward and slightly pitching back. Two things that'll do is that'll either let you run a little wider around the pole or pull you in a little tighter to the pole as well. And as you can see here, I'm getting a little bit close. So as I'm doing the orbit, I start to pitch back just a little bit to get my positioning a little bit better. And then once I finally kind of get settled in over here, I get a little far away, so I start pitching forward to get myself back in. And then once I get into a settled position, I can kind of hold my sticks pretty steady and let it continue to just orbit the pole while holding the sticks. So one of the ways that I like to practice orbits is that I will find a series of things that I can orbit and sequentially orbit them in opposite directions. So orbiting left, one pole, and then switching to the next pole, and then orbiting right. It's really good practice, and it's a great way to keep you as a balanced pilot. As you can see, my rights are still a little iffy at best. So the next thing that we're going to do is pick up the pace on the orbit a little bit, and as we come in here, we're coming in a little bit faster, and we're going to pick up the pace of the orbit as we're doing it. And as you can see, the only real difference is that my throttle's a little bit higher and I am pitched forward a little bit. The pitch here is just to correct for me not being a really awesome pilot. And as we go in the other direction, you can see I actually settle in a little bit better at a good pace, and all I'm doing is holding throttle, holding roll and yaw simultaneously, and I'm just going around it. So that's about it, guys. I hope everybody learned something today, and drop any comments of anything else you want to learn, and if you feel I deserve it, drop me a like, and please subscribe. Thank you very much.